and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable from South Africa. I told y'all I was getting on the plane. I know I said that at least 2 or 3 times before this, but I told you I was actually getting on the plane this time. I know I said that too, but I actually got on the plane. That's the important part. I'm back in Cape Town. I'm back in my favorite building, just in a different apartment. I've already started gallivanting. I left Saturday night. It took 15 hours to get here. It was an ungood plane ride. But I landed in South Africa on Sunday. I hit up one of my homies and I was like, I'm here. I'm here. And so she was like, what are we doing? Let's get a welcome drink. Man, ended up going to this really cute seaside restaurant. Seaside, oceanside. I guess it's the ocean. That's not the point. It was dark. I got there late, so I missed sunset. But I was there on time for copious bottles of bubbles. South Africans and their bubbles, champagne. They call it bubbles. I've missed you. I've missed you so. Between that and the fried calamari, it's just, they do it so well here. My social life is shaping up nicely. I've got a braid appointment tomorrow. I've got a wine farm visit on Thursday. I have some friends in town from the States next week. I think I'm going to go see some whales this weekend. I'm waiting on one more detail to come together. I've been talking about these whales forever and a day. It's supposed to be warm this weekend. It's not so warm right now, but I want to see the whales on a warm day. This is like the final month to see the whales. They just had a whale watching festival last weekend. A bunch of whales. I want to go on a boat to see the whales, but I was also told that you can just like walk along. There's an 11-kilometer cliff walk in this restaurant that's really famous. I've been there years and years and years ago. It was off season for the whales. But I was told that like while you're eating dinner, like the whales will just like swim up into the cove and like do fun whale things. And I was like, what? We about to find out. Oh, just a bit of housekeeping. I'm going to take a little podcast break. It's not the optimal time, but it must be done. I'm going to take a podcast hiatus from October 18th, that's the Friday, until October 31st. So 2 weeks, 4 episodes, but back in time for the American election. Hell or high water, I will not be recording an episode during that time. I need to take care of some things. So just a heads up. I'll give you reminders in the upcoming episodes because I know sometimes folks lose it when I go on vacay, but this is a necessary reprieve. All right, enough about me. We have much ground to cover because we've been covering all these lawsuits. And that man, Mark Robinson, down in North Carolina, who was fantasizing about his wife's, I hope it was a fantasy, about his wife's sister in the comment section of porn sites. I don't think watching porn makes you a pervert because like everybody watches porn. It's one of the biggest industries in the world and it drives technology. It is what it is. Join in the comments section. Yeah, you're not quite right. I guess because we just brought up his name, we probably should mention the story. This is not under good Black news though. He was taken to the hospital last week with second-degree burns. I said it was his wife or his wife's sister. I just knew somebody had threw hot grits on him. As it would turn out, that's not the case yet. He was at a campaign event. I want to say for like one of those big trucks. I'm pulling this up on CNN. It said he burned his hand on a big rig he was riding at the Mayberry Truck Show and Parade. He said, quote, I was getting out of the truck and several of my fans and supporters were coming around the truck. I was trying to get out without running into them. And doggone if I didn't lay my hand on that tailpipe, the exhaust pipe. He was telling people this and then he raised his bandaged hand. He said, quote, I am fine. It's just a minor second-degree burn and it is just fine. No grits involved whatsoever. That's what you're telling me? Okay. I'm being an ass, but I'm glad nothing happened to the man. Like, I think he's an ass. I think he don't like Black people. I think he probably deserved to burn in hell for talking about his wife's sister like that in the comment section of the porn sites and also registering to the porn sites with his own email and never erasing any of this despite running for political office. But I don't want him to burn up in real life. I don't wish the man any harm. I want him to continue on to exist so I can cackle about his dumb shit for another day. He is still denying that the comments that CNN found, even calling himself a black Nazi, or the crazy stuff that he wrote about Martin Luther King, we read on a previous episode, or, his fantasizing about urinating on his wife's sister and then also being urinated on by the wife's sister. He denies all of that. Some company came forward and was like, hey, we do, research on the internet. You're saying that someone's trying to frame you and this wasn't you. And would you like us to do our independent research and get to the bottom of it? Like, we'll do it for free. And he was like, no, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Sir, sir, sir. On to good black news. We have a Luther Vandross documentary, Never Too Much, the one I've been like stalking since earlier this year. I remember when I was here last time, I was talking about it. So like Aprilish or so, the news broke. It's going to air in theaters later this month, the end of the month. I can't find the exact date. Like I've seen some people say October 30th. I've seen some people say November 1st. It's going to air in American theaters later this month. And then next year in 2025, it's going to air on OWN. Somebody gonna have to get me a bootleg. That's how I watch Renaissance. I would like to support the film. I will buy a ticket for the film in order to support it, but I'm not in the States, so I won't be able to see it. I'm not waiting until 2025 to watch this film. I have missed it the entire summer I was home. There was a screening in DC I missed. I had to travel for work. I missed it at ABFF. It was at Martha's Vineyard Film Festival. I missed it then. There was another screening in DC. I think it was at a park. Heard amazing things about it. Just the trailer alone looks fascinating to me. I love me some Luther. Love me some Luther. I cannot wait to see this film. So somebody is gonna have to find a bootleg link after it comes out in theaters and just send it to me. I don't want to be a thief. I don't. I will buy a ticket to support the film in theater, but I have to see this film. Have to. I think I would like to see Mary J. Blige on tour. She's going on tour again this year. She also has a new album coming out on November 15th. I'm reading this on Rolling Stone. She was the big guest on the new season of Sherry. Sherry came back last Monday. Mary J. Blige was on. We'll talk about that in a second. But Mary's new tour, it's called For My Fans. It begins January 2025, and she's going on tour with Mario and Neo. I'm not mad at that lineup at all. And I haven't seen Mary in a while. Like I used to see her every year at Essence Fest because she closed out the festival. That was good time. 60,000 Black people, a good 58,000 were Black women. There was some men in there too. Men love Mary J. Blige too. But just all these women singing in unison, I'm going down. A chorus of over 50,000 women just losing their mind and reliving their heartbreak. It was almost like church. I would like to experience this again. I mentioned this to a friend and they were like, "Ooh, are we still supporting Mary?" I said, who not going to support Mary? Mary ain't done nothing not to be supported. And they were like, because like Mary and Puff, I was like, Mary was never on Bad Boy. And they were like, well, Puff produced. We talked about this a while ago. I think when the Cassie lawsuit first came out and people were like, are we going to have to cancel Puff the way we cancel R. Kelly? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Puff? Sure. All the stuff Puff produced or the people signed to his label? No. I had contemplated this at one point. I think I had a conversation online about it. And people were like, hey, we already canceled R. Kelly. If we cancel all Bad Boy, what we going to listen to at the cookout? We just going to sit there in silence? We just going to play Frankie Beverly? I mean, I'm not canceling Bad Boy artists. Puff, we could skip all his songs. All About the Benjamins, I really only need Kim's verse anyway. Him and his songs with Mace, I only really need Mace. We could cut him straight on out. I'll Be Missing You. That's the only real song I like that has Puff on it. I will give up the Biggie tribute. Puff actually doesn't make a dime and never has off of that song because he never got the clearance from Sting on the chorus. All that money, and it's a ton of money, has all gone to Sting. Sting was like, run me my monies. He would have some more funds to pay these legal fees. Now, you know what? That's not the point. I really don't want to talk about this dude today. Like, I really need a non-Puff episode, but it's impossible right now. Also, I know what I just said, but there have been a couple unique events or announcements that are in the music industry that people keep trying to relate to Puff, and I'm not sure there's a relation. So the day that Diddy is indicted, Kevin Lyles, music exec, announces that he's stepping down from 300. And it's just really weird timing because I'm like, everybody knows y'all are friends. Y'all are both in the same industry. He's indicted on all of this shit. The Diddy indictment happened before he made his announcement. And I'm like, even if you had your announcement scheduled for that day, I don't know why you wouldn't just be like, you know what? Maybe I should hold this for a week, put some distance between me and him so people don't think that there's something nefarious going on here. I didn't mention it at the time. There's absolutely no evidence, at least not to the public, that Kevin Lyle's resignation is in any way affiliated with Diddy's indictment. And I think that's important to say because it's one thing to speculate, like is someone dating someone, does someone have beef with someone, is there shade with someone, something like that. But because of the nature of the Diddy indictment and it's so salacious and reputation damaging, I'm really hesitant to link other things that happen in the industry with Diddy just because, like, I wouldn't want my name arbitrarily put in some shit. Like the same thing happened with the minister from Dallas. There were rumors about his involvement with Diddy. I can't remember the specific term people were using to describe that alleged encounter, but I wouldn't even say the man's name on the episode because I was like, I don't want to put people with something like that. I also don't want to get sued. The other thing that people keep trying to tie to Diddy is Usher's Twitter account was hacked and all of his messages were erased. I don't know if it's been restored or not, but people were like, oh, he deleted his Instagram because Usher's about to go down because of Diddy. Usher used to live with Diddy when he was a kid. They enjoyed a close relationship. Usher being Usher, he flew over to Bali and was palling around with Russell, the alleged rapist. So I don't doubt that his friendship with Puffy has changed at all. He probably just has enough good sense for now not to throw his name into the mix of anything. Usher strikes me as the type who might end up in the gallery in Diddy's trial. Like his judgment doesn't always seem sound to me. And, I'm a big Usher fan. Of the music, the man in persona is a little sketchy sometimes. Not the point. Point is, people keep trying to link Usher's quote unquote hat Twitter account with something going on with Diddy. If we find out down the line that there's a link between Usher's Twitter account and Diddy or Kevin Lyle's resignation and Diddy's indictment, we'll have a conversation about it. We could do a whole episode about it. But until there's a direct link of those things, I would prefer not to speculate because that's really serious allegations to be throwing somebody's name in. Like you was raping and drugging people. You were part of a criminal enterprise. Like that's a lot. But back to Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige goes on Sherry and she talks about this tour. She talks about this new album. What she doesn't talk about is Puff. Mary doesn't bring it up and Sherry doesn't ask. And people are like, WTF, Sherry? You have a whole talk show. You have someone who is, very close to the person who just got indicted on federal charges and you're not going to ask them nothing? Clearly not. We don't have a Wendy right now. And we need a Wendy more than ever. People are like, oh, like you're our Wendy. And I was like, I do commentary. One of the inspirations for this whole podcast was the first 15 minutes of the Wendy Williams show. I love Wendy's commentary. I absolutely would love to hear Wendy's commentary right now. But more than anything, I want a Wendy sit down. I want somebody who gets people on camera and actually asks them the questions that the people want to know. Like Mary J. Blige wants to come on the show. She wants to talk about her tour. Okay. She wants to talk about her new album. Okay. You're going to have to let me get off at least 2 questions about what's lining up to be the trial of the century. Like your homie just got indicted on federal charges. You gotta let me ask the question. Even if you say, I don't want to comment on it at this time, let's see how it plays out in court. My empathy is with his family. I pray for the survivors. You got to get the question out. Sherry does not bill herself as a journalist. Sherry bills herself as, she's a talk show host, but Sherry is first and foremost a comedian. She's also an actress. Sherry doesn't do controversy. One of the reasons her show is so popular, I know there's a place for people who are just, Happy, not too controversial, keep things light, keep things breezy. It's what daytime TV is supposed to be. Wendy was actually the anomaly. I wish she would have asked. We need somebody who would ask. The people want to know. People are like, why don't you do it? I'm overseas. There's a new Ann Lowe film. You know who Ann Lowe is, right? The black lady who designed Jackie Kennedy's wedding dress. And then also all the rich white ladies who had daughters who were debutantes. She did all the dresses for the debutantes and their mamas, which is how she ended up doing Jackie Kennedy's dress. Fabulous woman. She had an exhibit. It's in Delaware. I drove up there. It was like 2.5 hours from DC, but I drove up there one day just to go to the exhibit, to walk around for an hour and all at the dresses, like just art, just pure art. They had a recreation of Jackie Kennedy's wedding dress. Oh, the details, the details. But there's a new movie coming out, a biopic about her life. I wrote this down because it's shaping up to be epic. It's Serena Williams and Ruth Carter, who did the costumes. I mean, she's done them for like every black film you've ever seen, most of the Spike Lee films, and then also Black Panther, the first one and the second one. She did all the costumes for that. Her eye is so amazing. What you see on screen is beautiful. There was an exhibit for Ruth Carter. I want to say I saw it when it was in Atlanta. What is Scott? Savannah College of Art and Design. They have an offshoot campus and museum in Atlanta. And I saw a Ruth Carter exhibit there. In person, the designs for those Black Panther costumes, I mean, for all the stuff she creates, are so much more detailed and so much more intricate than you even realize watching it on screen. Just like the fabric, the buttons or the stitching, like it's just, I'm not a big fashion person, but just like the construction of like this art, so amazing. But she and Serena Williams are executive producing this film on Ann Lowe, which I am so excited about. I'm reading this on Women's Wear Daily. The film is called The Dress. It's about Lowe's experience creating the wedding dress of Jackie Kennedy, 1953. If I recall, something happened to the dress the week of. There's some backstory with the dress, and Ann Lowe had to recreate it at the last minute to get it to Jackie Kennedy. I learned that when I went to the exhibit. So it's a really big story behind the dress. But the film is based on a book, historical fiction, but a book nonetheless, called By Her Own Design, that was based on Ann Lowe. She designed dresses. I'm reading this article further down. She designed dresses for a bunch of people. Marjorie Merriweather Post, if you live in DC, visited DC, her mansion, calling it a mansion actually makes it sound smaller than what it is. It's a whole compound. She had beautiful taste. If you're ever in DC and you want to see some just epic, fabulous shit, like silk wallpaper, beautiful gowns, like good money well spent, a budget blown, it's a good place to visit. She also designed dresses for the Rockefellers. There's a Rockefeller estate, a compound in upstate New York that's also very beautiful. The Roosevelts, as in Franklin and them, and then the DuPont family. It's super early in production. We're not going to see this film no time soon. But it's fashion and then like black excellence and then, glamour and then stupid white money, which means it should have good budget, well spent. Ruth Carter alone, I can't wait to see the fashion. Andre Leon Talley would love this moment. I miss him. Speaking of budget, Hoda is out at the Today Show. Well, not just yet. She's leaving at the top of next year. I love me some Hoda. Hoda did me a solid in 2011, June 2011, when A Bell in Brooklyn, my first book, the Today Show booked me for an interview, and I went on with Hoda. I had done TV interviews before, but the Today Show was my first big interview. Years before I started doing relationship stuff on GMX, the Today Show was the biggest interview I had ever done. So it was a really quick segment, like you prep and prep and prep, and at best you get 3 to 4 minutes on TV. At the end of the interview, Hoda gushed and she said something like, "I just love you, Demetria. I love this so much." And the book sales went through the roof. I will always be thankful for Hoda and the Today Show producers for that really great alley oop. And then Hoda basically endorsing the book. But Hoda is out. I'm reading this on today.com. They're recounting the announcement from September 26th, Mom's birthday. She had a great birthday, by the way. We took her to dinner. We both bought her big bouquets of roses. She was very happy. But on September 26th, Hoda recounted, she said that at her 60th birthday celebration in August, she decided she wanted a change. She says, quote, I realized that it was time for me to turn the page at 60 and to try something new. She said, I remembered standing outside looking at these beautiful bunch of people with these gorgeous signs. And I thought, this is what the top of the wave feels like for me. And I thought it can't get better. And I decided that this is the right time for me to kind of move on. Hoda has two young daughters, Haley 7 and Hope 5. And she said that spending more time with them factored into her decision. She said, obviously, I had my kids late in life. And I was thinking they deserve a bigger piece of my time pie than I have. I feel like we only have a finite amount of time. And so, with all that being said, this is the hardest thing in the world. Later in the article, they note that Hoda has been part of the NBC quote unquote fabric for nearly 3 decades after previously working at Dateline and as a co host on the fourth hour of Today. Oh, Hoda. All right, so this is the Today Show official spiel. I wanted to spend more time with family. I had this decision at my 60th birthday. I'm reading this on thewrap.com. The headline is Hoda Cobb decided to exit today after NBC proposed cut to her $20 million salary. The network believes salaries in that range are no longer justifiable due to declining broadcast ratings. This is what Puck News. Who is Puck News? I don't know Puck News. Is this reliable news? The Wrap is re-reporting it. Yo, if Hoda never works again, she'll be fine. I do think that we have not seen the last of Hoda. She'll pop up somewhere. She might pop up with a podcast like everybody else. That's no hate. That's no shade. There's good money in podcasting. I'm not mad at it. I'm actually reading this on Puck now. It says, in the subgenre of Today Farewells, this was about as genuinely harmonious and well-composed an exit as the network suits could have expected. A far cry from the infamously awkward Ann Curry departure, obviously, to say nothing about the Matt Lauer cancellation that preceded Hoda's own ascension to the chair. Oh dear. I wish Hoda all the best. Nothing but the best. Not goodbye. See you soon. What else do we have on this list? Oh, our friend Damian Williams. Damian, Day. The U.S. attorney who's prosecuting both Diddy and the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, at the same damn time. I was like, you don't want no sleep. You want all the smoke. Day had a write-up in the New York Times. He's fancy black, y'all. Fancy black. He one of them Martha's Vineyard Negroes. They never should have let me on that island. The New York Times did a profile on him. It says, what to know about Damian Williams, the man prosecuting Eric Adams. They didn't even put Diddy's name in the headline. I was like, that's when we all met him. We didn't meet him last week. We met him the week before when he did the Diddy indictment. They want to focus on the mayor. I guess because it's the New York Times, but I'm like, Diddy's from Harlem. Diddy is very much affiliated with New York City. He got the key to the city and they took it back. He got the key to the city from Eric Adams. The man who got the key and the man who gave the key both got indicted by the same person a year after the key was given. Shameful. The New York Times says, quote, Mr. Williams already had a compelling biography, but the first ever indictment of a New York City mayor has added an astonishing new chapter to his life story. Not the indictment of Diddy? Just the mayor? Okay. They have the pictures of the two middle-aged white men who wrote this story. Sir, y'all are burying the lead. The Diddy thing is what makes this so interesting. I mean, the mayor thing too, but the Diddy and the mayor. They don't mention Diddy until way later in the article. Let's see what we can learn about Cousin Day. He was appointed to his current job, leading the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York in November 2021 by President Biden. He's a top federal prosecutor in Manhattan. At the time of his appointment, he said one thing was crystal clear. He wanted to be fiercely independent of politics. And so the New York Times goes on to note he's gone after politicians who were both Democrat and Republican. So no bias. They go on to talk about the Eric Adams indictment. Mr. Williams described Adams' actions as, quote, a grave breach of the public's trust. He went on to say public office is a privilege, and we allege that Mayor Adams abused that privilege and broke the law. Day, aka Mr. Williams, is 44. The New York Times describes him as having, quote, a compelling biography with degrees from Harvard, Cambridge, and Yale, like a super Negro. And his appointment made him the first Black person to lead this particular federal prosecutor's office. The New York Times goes on to say, with the indictment of the New York City mayor, he has added a chapter to his career that is likely to overshadow anything that has come before. Huh? The Diddy indictment and the eventual trial is going to be way bigger than prosecuting the New York City mayor. The Diddy trial, if nothing else, is international. I am a 15-hour plane ride from East America. The first topic that came up at dinner was Diddy. The second topic was the U.S. presidential election, which, by the way, Trump's commentary on Kamala Harris not being too smart and being ditzy is playing over here. Like, it's actually gotten legs. Last night, the woman asked me, and I think she works in politics here, if I remember correctly, but she was like, do you think she's actually smart enough? Like, is she qualified enough to do the job? And I was like, she was a senator. And then before that, she was a prosecutor in California. Like, yeah, like she's got credential, like she's good. And she was like, okay, because I was hearing and I was like, no, that's propaganda. But she was genuinely concerned. And just for clarity, she is a Black woman. I mean, both Kamala Harris and the woman who was asking the questions. It talks about other people he's prosecuted, the founder of a cryptocurrency exchange for fraud. It talks about Sean Combs and the RICO charges. And then we get a little bit more biography. Day was born in Brooklyn and raised in Atlanta. His parents are immigrants from Jamaica who met at Howard University. Generational bouginess. They were both studying for careers in healthcare. He is married to Jennifer Wynn, a business consultant and professor. Just for clarity, yes, she's Black. Beautifully Black, brown-skinned Black girl, unambiguously Black. It says Mr. Williams' trajectory pointed upward in high school when he served as student body president. He majored in economics as an undergraduate at Harvard. This is such a weird detail, where one of his friends was the actress Natalie Portman. Okay. He then earned a master's degree in international relations from the University of Cambridge and then a law degree from Yale University. After law school, Mr. Williams clerked for Merrick Garland. He's now the attorney general. At the time, he was a federal judge. Remember, Obama wanted to put Merrick Garland on the Supreme Court, and old evil Mitch McConnell blocked it. It was after, was it RBG or Scalia? I think it was Scalia. But yeah, he clerked for him. That's a good position. Okay, then he goes on to talk about some other political folks that he went after. And then we're wrapping it up. It says, Mr. Williams at the news conference on Thursday. This was the one for Adams. He emphasized that his office remained committed to, quote, rooting out corruption without fear or favor and without regard to partisan politics. We are not focused on the right or the left, he said. We are focused only on right and wrong. Let me scroll back up real quick because there was a link to Jennifer Wynn, his wife. Let me click the link. Okay, she's a clinical associate professor at my alma mater, NYU, Stern, B School. Okay, hey Jennifer girl, hey Brown Jen. Do we have any more details on Jennifer? Jennifer Wynn is the founder of Wynn Strategies, a consultancy focused on organizational transformation, change leadership, and healing across sectors. She is the former director of education at the Obama Foundation, surprise, surprise, where she led a team to design in-person and digital learning for active citizenship, including communication skills like dialogue across difference. She has founded a middle school served as a director of curriculum management, and developed courses for MBA students at NYU Stern. She is also a board member of a private education technology company. She has an MBA from NYU Stern School of Business, a Master's of Education from Hunter College, and an AB. What's an AB? Is that a typo? Should be BA, right? From Harvard University. I'd like to know their love story. Oh, here we go. Boom. Ask and you shall receive. The New York Times covered their wedding in 2012. They were married at Riverside Church in Manhattan. Quote, the bride, 27, is keeping her name. Oh, look at them. They look so young and fresh. I mean, but they're black, so they actually look the same. She's also from Atlanta. The groom, 31, works in Manhattan as an assistant U.S. attorney. The groom's mother owns the Alpha Academy and Child Care Center in Decatur. His father is an OBGYN in a private practice. So he married a version of his mom. Okay, this should last. Good for them. Fancy black. Also in good black news, Judge Mathis. We talked about Judge Mathis when he was over talking to TMZ at the airport. He'd been having some marital troubles. His wife had filed for divorce on him after like a million years of marriage. I'd like to report that things are doing better. Judge Mathis and his wife had a day out in Santa Monica with the grandchildren, two beautiful brown girls. But he and Miss Linda were outside at the park. They took a selfie together. Miss Linda is smiling with all of her teeth. Miss Linda looks very happy. There is some joy in the Mathis household. This is good. This is good. Because the judge, we caught up with him. The judge wasn't doing okay. He said he wasn't okay. He said he wanted to get his wife back. He talked about the things he'd been wrong. He was outside. He wasn't spending enough time with his wife. Clearly, quality time matters to Miss Linda. She had said as much. The judge wasn't listening. He did not hear. So Miss Linda had to make him feel. It seems that he is getting himself in order. This is just one photo. I hope the Judge Mathis is acting right, and then he will achieve his goal of keeping his wife. No one wins when the family feuds. I like this. I like this behavior. I like this smile on Miss Linda's face. I like that she's smiling with all of her teeth. May the judge continue to keep up the good work. I talked about him when he did bad. We're going to talk about him when it appears he's doing good. I hope that we are reading into this picture and we are reading the right things. I hope that things are going well in the Mathis household. If nothing else, I hope they had a pleasurable day, enjoyed one another, and enjoyed the grandchildren. Keep up the good work, Judge. I hope this ain't just, stunting for the gram. Hope you're doing the work. Do the work. Otherwise, you're going to have to cut the check. We do have some bad black news this week. Naomi Campbell was running a charity. The charity was investigated, and they said Naomi can't run a charity no more. At least not for, did they say 4 years, 7 years? They investigated a bunch of people running a charity, and they were like, no. Different people got different times that they were banned from being a charity trustee. I'm reading this on The Guardian. The Guardian is reliable news in the UK. It says there was a watchdog investigation that uncovered widespread evidence of financial misconduct at the poverty relief charity that Naomi Campbell founded. The charity is called Fashion for Relief, and the investigation found, quote, only a small fraction of the millions of pounds the charity raised from star-studded celebrity fashion events went to good causes. It says the supermodel was disqualified from being a trustee for 5 years. So reading further down, the charity inappropriately spent tens of thousands of pounds on luxury hotel rooms, flights, spa treatments, personal security, and cigarettes for Campbell. It found that over a 5-year period from 2016, Fashion for Relief raised just under £4 million from a series of fashion shows, but paid only £389,000 to partner charities once the cost of events and other expenses were accounted for. So less than 10%. The article continues. It says nearly £350,000 were recovered from the charity by interim managers appointed by the commission and paid to the charity Save the Children and the Mayor's Fund for London, which reported Fashion for relief to regulators 4 years ago after failing to receive promised payments from fundraising agreements. Oh dear. It says another trustee was banned from running the charity for 9 years, and then there was a third trustee who was banned for 4 years. The commission report revealed that the charity did not pay Save the Children 450,000 euros that was raised at a 2017 fundraising event. They paid some of the funds, and the remaining money that they owed, they didn't pay until January 2023 after the interim managers took over. They owed the people 147,000 pounds. The commission concluded there had been serious misconduct, financial mismanagement, and poor governance at the charity since it was established in 2015. Still reading from The Guardian, they said the inquiry report highlighted, quote, shambolic, that's a good word, financial management, chaotic record keeping, including failure to keep evidence of invoices and receipts or formal minutes of meetings and decisions. The charity had no full-time staff, but referred administrative and accounting matters to outside advisors. It says the charity was charged 14,800 pounds for a flight, taking an unnamed donor to a fundraising event in the south of France. It says while there, Campbell stayed in a 3,000 pound per night hotel room and ran up personal security costs of more than 4,000 euros. I'm sorry, it was 3,000 euros a night. Slightly cheaper than pounds. Slightly. That's like 3,300 USD, 34, somewhere in there. Other expenses incurred to the charity by Campbell during that trip included just under 8,000 euros on spa treatments, room service, purchases of cigarettes, and hotel products. Campbell stayed at the hotel for 6 nights, of which only 2 were attributable to the charity event. Oh dear. The Guardian says it reached out to Campbell for comment and got crickets. Ungood. Very ungood. There's some other drama, but we're already running a little long, and I'm jet lagged. Let's keep it 100. We have some other things we need to discuss in bad black news. We'll save it for Friday's episode. Lauryn Hill is being sued by Praz, and then allegedly, Eric Adams' girlfriend ain't been going to work. She works for the Department of Education. They saying they ain't seen her since last Thanksgiving. I said, excuse me? Did she work from home? Was that the case? They said, no, we're only permitted to work from home 2 days a week. We ain't seen her since last Thanksgiving. What? We're going to talk about that on Friday. And also, there's it was referred to as a class action lawsuit, but it's actually not. There was a press conference earlier today, I think out of Houston, where a team of lawyers announced that they are filing 120 new lawsuits against Diddy from people who are accusing him of sexual abuse. They said that the numbers are split pretty evenly between men and women. Around 25 of the people who have come forward say they were minors at the time of the interaction, including someone who says they were 9 years old when allegedly there was at least an incident of sexual abuse taking place. But we'll get into the other stuff on Friday and then whatever comes up after that. I'm so sick of talking about Diddy. I need a break. Hopefully we can talk about the VP debate. I think that's happening tonight in America. I can watch it on YouTube after it airs. I ain't staying up in the middle of the night to watch JD Vance act a fool on TV. I'm not. All right. That's the podcast. We'll talk on Friday. Okay.